Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, creatures of all persuasions. Um, yes, all those of the two genders there actually are, etc., etc. um, Today I'm actually going to make a topic about something that we all need to be held accountable in the modern day and age. I myself, in particular, you literally cannot go 5 minutes on social media without the conversation turning into graphic graphic, graphic sexualization. You can't. It's not possible at the moment. Well, I've been way too accepting of this, and yeah, it is fun. It is funny to do this every now and again. It's healthy as a joke. I am not advocating sexual oppression here. I'm not advocating anything of the sort. This is just one example. And remember, extremism is the problem. All movements in extremism is just terror. Full stop. But it's to the point where absolute degeneracy is the only acceptable motto these days. Well, at least it appears so. It is vastly not the case. However, it drastically appears to be so. Um, Vastly so, people are actually starting to rebel against this sort of degeneracy. It's like conservatism is not just a political policy. That is a statement for political policy. It's meant to be more of an analogy. You are meant to be a bit conservative. You're not meant to appear on camera stark naked, showing off the graphic insides of your personal private parts for money. That is degeneracy. You're not meant to be encouraging your friends to do so. If somebody does encourage you, unfriend them. They are not your friend. They are a degenerate, extremely mental ill person that is going to try to force their mental illness upon you. Yes, that is how mental illness is catchy. It's people that are mentally ill taking advantage of people that are not yet mentally ill but extremely vulnerable and giving them an option of lack of accountability for their own actions. It's like I hear a lot of these people going on about left wing, right wing, blah blah blah, conservative, blah blah blah. It's all lack of accountability. It's to the point where such degeneracy has affected the good folks of Islam, have actually affected the good folks of Christianity. It's affected the pagan community a little less from the personal circles I have been in, but it has affected it heavily nonetheless. It has affected every religious group that I know of. That's not a joke. It's affected every social group that I know of. It's to the point. It's the point where I was kicked off of a Discord server for saying people that do horrific things to minors should get more legal consequences and should and seriously speaking, we should consider the death penalty for them. YouTube has specific bans on the actual word, but that's the level of degeneracy of people are willing to support this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you are worried about a banhammer coming upon you yourself. By condemning those that would condemn the horrific acts of others, you support the horrific acts of others. Absolutely. By condemning those that would say a Nazi is bad for using the word Nazi, you are supporting Nazis. Absolutely. By turning around and saying genocide is justifiable underneath any grounds, you are only supporting genocide. You are only supporting these people the moment you turn around and you try to suppress another person. The likes of which of fucking Antifa are bad enough, but it's to the point where I cannot say in some groups without fear of mass repercussion, although I still say it, but I cannot say it without fear that I am a nationalist, as should everybody be. I believe my country, New Zealand, to be a great country that can be made better, should be made better, better. I believe some of our politicians have let us down. Some have carried us to a new height. Everybody should be able to state that. There shouldn't be an argument. The discussion should be what specific points do we need to improve on for everybody. Ideally, yes, we would have free healthcare and free everything for everybody. That's not always an option. Because, yes, we need to do better as a country. Other countries need to do better. Because we wouldn't have an issue over this if we were in enough of abundance to be able to give abundance to everybody. Ideally, we wouldn't have to use petroleum products. Ideally, we wouldn't have to use fossil fuels of any kind. We don't live in ideally. So it's like, how do we go about making these things redundant? Rather than screaming and yelling like children, attacking people, zero accountabilities, overdosing on drugs, and then starting a riot and war. It's like George Floyd overdosed on fucking fentanyl. You say that in a public group, despite the fact that it is on the coroner's fucking report that he overdosed. He just overdosed. He died on the way to hospital from an overdose. Yes, the police were a little mean and nasty to him. The guy was screaming, ranting around, dragging people down to the mud. But if you look at the media, if you're still listening, this is where the real enemy is. If you look at the media, you can look at a video that actually shows that police officer is a horrible monster. You look at a video from another angle, that police officer is fine. The lady that got shot in her truck as she was running down the police officer. One video I saw, this was from an angle near the rear of the vehicle. It showed a scared lady escaping from the ICE officer, federal officers. But on the other angle, from the body camera footage from them, it shows a man in the process of being rammed down by a vehicle rendered on about this angle by the hood of the car, getting driven underneath it with no option apart from to shoot the driver. Horrific scenarios shouldn't have happened. Yet again, she shouldn't have been attacking federal officers with only the emotional maturity of a toddler to say, there's all right. It doesn't matter if you agree with them or disagree with them. At that point, she was committing an act of murder. The person acted in self-defense. Simple. But the first footage I showed her doing something horrible. Second footage first footage I saw showed him doing something horrible. The second footage showed her doing something horrible. To truth be told, I and you don't know the actual truth of the matter. Because the media is doing things like making Joe Rogan look like an African American by making his face grey to say that he's unhealthy just because they don't agree with his thing, while they're making pedophiles look like the shining example of humanity. Oh shit, I just said the word that gets you banned off YouTube. But the fact of the matter is, we don't know what's happening because most of these news stations are all owned by a very small group of people, and it's getting presented to us in a manner to cause mass hysteria. Facebook is another one. Facebook is literally going off the MK Ultra programs, and yes, I mean the actual ones that you can get the declassified documentation on that shows how they did do experiments with not only drugs, which was part of the volunteer program, but brain surgeries. They are now working on a subsidiary of that now that it's been closed down, using social media platforms which are fully in compliance of it, such as YouTube. YouTube is doing this. It's Facebook. They are presenting us conflicting news articles. They are, deliberately so. They are presenting footage to say that this person is in the wrong and this person's in the right, and then the exact mirror footage in order to make us argue with each other. You can hear left-winged people and right-winged people arguing, and if you actually listen to the rational ones, they're arguing over completely different stories, evidently involving the same thing. And it depends on the camera angle, depends on the footage, depends on the picked and chose fabrications mixed with a small amount of evidence to deliberately divide people. And then it focuses on people with a deliberate lack of accountability, stating that they have further lack of accountability on both sides in order to start these people with lack of accountability to create arguments, to go out protesting, to turn the process into riots based on emotional childish behavior. And it is just Machiavellian narcissism weaponized, introduced, created, and weaponized. This is ridiculous. Rebellion culture today is getting turned into big titty goth girl, boo boo goo goo gaga. We need a daddy, rather than having people going, hey, look, we need self accountability and responsibility. And it is literally just focusing on causing lack of accountability and Machiavellianism in amongst people. It is literally manufactured arguments just to do whatever. One side is toxic femininity to the absolute max, and the other side's toxic masculinity to the absolute max. But it's like the loudest fucking group is a bunch of screaming libtards that have never had any consequence in their life. But there's nothing wrong with an actual liberal. There is nothing wrong with an actual conservative. We should be able to meet in the middle and have an actual discussion. But it is the small, insignificant minority that is dictating what we have to say. I broke one of the key rules in the beginning of this conversation, which did get me timed out in Marvel Rivals. I said a man is a man and a woman is a woman. If you disagree with me, fine. There's no reason to have an argument with me. I'm going off strictly by biological factors. You can turn around and go, well, actually, it's a social factor. Well, it's like, well, it doesn't change the fact of an X chromosome or a Y chromosome. I am correct in what I am stating. Whether or not you're correct in a psychological principle is besides the point. I'm willing to have a discussion with you. I am. Seriously, I'd be willing to give you a fucking link to my Discord if you hit me up in my comments. So I keep an eye on my comments. It may take me a while to get around to it, but I will. Because this is fucking ridiculous. Just because I disagree with you, just because I may argue with you, I may have a heated discussion, I may have a polite discussion, doesn't mean that my life should be ruined or your life should be ruined for differences of opinion. Differences of opinion make the world great. And before we have more people turning around and going, men are evil, white men are evil. White men built the whole entire fucking world. They brought the whole world together. The English opposing the Middle Eastern slavery where they bolted human beings into ships and worked them to death, and opposing the African slave trades that supplied the Dutch to supply the black slaves to America. White English people, which, I have my problems with the English culture, but you know what? I think it's a fucking good thing that they went in there and stopped it. Yes, that has permanently destabilized countries. Yes, that has permanently caused continuations of multiple wars in the Middle East, which the Middle East is only one singular war that has continued on through multiple factors contributing to it over time. To state that it's an individual factor is a load of lies. It's been going on since before Muhammad. Muhammad just brought it into Europe. You can argue whether or not he was on the right path of that. To be quite frank, it's happened so long ago. It's like, who fucking knows at this point? He may have had his reasons. I don't think he did. He may have. But the fact of the matter is, we can start more political arguments over that, and sell more media, or you can stop being gullible fuckers listening to the news online, allowing them to pluck up your feed with political bullshit, allowing the parasites online, some of which believe themselves to be rightists, to give you political commentary. Like right now, what I'm doing is feeding into it, but it's feeding into it to say, stop. You get a political notification on your device that is more than a weather alert. Hit the 3 bars, hit block channel. Problem solved. Seriously. I mean, I got kicked off of Marvel Rivals because one person didn't like the fact that I was talking, or maybe I said something that hurt their feelings. I wasn't being impolite. I wasn't, surprisingly for me, I wasn't being rude. I wasn't even being insensitive. The individual didn't like it. They could have said something. No. And furthermore, there's another person that we were on there earlier, and I could have went down the same point. They started flipping off at a person we were with because they didn't like their voice. Started brutally insulting them. So I just kept rudely just go and telling them that it's about as point as what they are saying, because they sound like screaming, crying seals, and we shouldn't be supporting this type of people. They have had no consequences, and quite frankly, their parents failed them the moment their parents didn't give them a fucking backhander. Because I hate saying it, there is a certain point where somebody needs to be met with real life consequences on the reality of the fucking world, and that's the problem today's society is people aren't getting that. People are seeking differences. People are living in some sort of childish playhouse where they are pretending to be infantile idiots. And I, for one, am done standing for it. I'm done. I am done listening to adult women behave and pretend to be children to sexually entice men. That's disgusting. That's not being a pedophile. That's pedophilic. It's essentially the same thing. I am done listening to grown-ass men around the ages of 18, child by my standards still, but legally an adult, turning around, even 25-year-olds, even people my age, turning around and going, oh yes, but this anime character is 300 years old. They are prepubescent. That is disgusting. Disgusting. It's time to stop the toxic acceptance of these types of people. And yes, I'm giving the worst examples of the most extreme nature. And to be quite frank, we need to draw a line to say, yes, we should be more accepting of people. We should be more accepting of actual problems, actual mental illnesses we can help. But it's like people that are justifying that's statistically proven. They are the type of nature that for the benefits of society and help of society, we don't have facilities to house them. And it's better to, wow, I'm not allowed to say unalive them on YouTube, but I'm just going to say that they should be done through legal processes, psychologically valued, and when it's proven that they can't be helped because they can't be executed. The wood chipper policy is right. It is. These people, these mindsets, okay, pretend sympathetic grounds, which is a dangerous mentality people should not have. I'm going to say anybody with a developing brain, so anybody underneath the age of 25 should not have a sympathetic mindset to them for their own safety. But besides that, if you are going to be sympathetic to these people, great. These people with these pedophilic or these actual pedophiles, they need to be exterminated for their own good, so they can't redo this if it's a mental illness. If it's not a mental illness, and it's just a severe perversion where they are literally subhuman, they should be exterminated for the good of society. There is certain levels of danger we cannot have in the community. There is another problem too, and this is, if anybody who is Islamic should find this deplorable. Out of racism, the UK has made cousin marriages for first cousins acceptable, which I actually just about fucking threw up there. Whoa, holy shit, I didn't know that I felt that bad. But hear that, first cousins acceptable. Incest that gives your child a 25% chance out of 100 of being born chromosomally deformed, to be more supportive of Islam. That's not more supportive of Islam. I know it's a fact. They have medical textbooks going back thousands of years saying that's a bad idea and not to do it. And the groups that do this should be condemned or given a proper education on the matter. And this is disgusting. And quite frankly, that's actually Islamophobic. We'll even go further. It's anti-Semitic. Because it's stating Semitic religions are for this. So that's anti-Christian. That's anti-Muslim. That's anti-Jew. That's anti-Semitic. All the Semitic faiths should be offended by this. Absolutely. In fact, all people should be offended by this, absolutely. But it seems to be targeting those demographics mostly. Which, Yeah, you can't tell. I'm a pagan and I'm sympathetic towards, well, I'm not a pagan, I'm an animist, but close enough for the generalized person. But I still am sympathetic towards these people that are getting painted in a horrific fucking light due to the acts of a few horrible, deplorable people that are coming from coming from countries that are essentially made up due to the fact that they are just a mess of warlords. And it's being weaponized by the media in order to try to attack innocent people like you and me. It's attacking our children. People are getting upset because evidently we should be evidently for to support trans rights, which people that I know that are trans are very against it. Believe it or not, I might not believe trans is a real thing, but I do know trans people, and believe it or not, I can go, I believe one thing, they can go, I believe another thing. We can still have a conversation. Nothing wrong with that. But the fact of the matter is, well, nothing wrong with that amongst adults. Adults. I hate that I have to clarify that, but we are on YouTube. Oh, that makes me sick. I fucking hate the world sometimes. Or I hate small numbers of individuals in it. But the fact of the matter is they are encouraging these permanent operations, these permanent chemical changes to the body that will lead to prostates growing to the size of fucking uteruses to the point where it automatically is cancer when they stop taking the hormones, and stating that these things should be done with children. Children should be no. Children shouldn't be encouraged to do something that's harmful to their body, that has minimum side effects of reducing their lifespan by 25 years by our best estimate. And yes, the number of years is going up by the way of what we are estimating for the reduction of life. It is going up dramatically. And the last thing is, probably some of the more horrific stuff is, I've noticed through Google and political opportunist predators that we have in Parliament, that statistics and information are getting pulled off the Wayback Machine, are getting pulled off the internet. It's to the point where people are striking actual statistical facts to the Mandela effect. It's to the point where I can quote books, including this one. I can read it out and quote it, and then go read an AI produced article that says those chapters never existed, never could exist, never would exist in any copy of the book. I can hear this about news articles, information. It's like politicians are getting 45 minutes of their speeches removed where they are talking about anti-internal protesting, anti-terrorism acts, and getting 45 minutes of them saying that removed for a speech on how you should fight back to make a better community, to get that used as a cry for terrorism. And all that happens is Fox and the BBC that deliberately misinformed the populace list and caused rioting, deaths upon the street for this, caused murder because it's premeditated, and they knew it would cause riots, and they knew the riots would cause death. That is murder by no stretch of definition. They are getting off scot-free because they just go, we're no longer a news station. Fox is no longer a news station. BBC is no longer a news station. They're just entertainment stations. That they can't be held accountable for what they say. They can't be held accountable for people that literally lose their lives at their actions, etc. And this is deplorable. And this is what I'm getting at. It's the lack of accountability, to the point where people are getting away with sexualizing minors. They're getting away with politicizing mental health disorders. They're getting away with harming people and doing harmful acts to the most vulnerable people in society, because not my fault. That's literally their statements. Oh, well, it's somebody else is accountable for my actions. And that's deplorable. They should be held accountable. Absolutely. And it's on the regular person to speak up against these idiots screaming in the background, to speak up and go, you are wrong. If you're a degenerate, if you are absolutely so degenerate that you can't go 5 minutes in an adult conversation without pure degeneracy coming up, you are wrong. And I will admit, as of late, I've been down that path a little bit myself. I have been, and I'm bringing my fucking reins back in it. But it's like yet again, what I say is only jokes involving consenting adults and a few Michael Jackson jokes. But yeah, mostly consenting adults and a few priest jokes because those are harmless. No, they're not. Adding in these little jokes aren't actually harmless. They are harmful to you because it's creating a psyche where you're allowing these things in, and it's just deplorable. It's just deplorable. Any acceptance to the worst possible things on the planet is too much. There's a reason why mammals devise hate. It is to stop horrific shit. And if I hear another argument, just one more argument where they go, well, what about this exception? Well, when you're making it, when a blanket statement is being made, an exception is not to prove against a rule. When I say most people do this, and you go, but one person jumped off a bridge and died, so it doesn't happen. That's not an argument. That's an emotional statement because you're talking about one person who jumped off a bridge, irrelevant to the most people. Because what I stated originally, most people will do this, is still a correct statement, even when you have one person that didn't. And most people, and I'm stating this, most people are supporting these horrible acts in the world by keeping quiet about it. You're condoning their actions. You're giving them a free pass. That Karen that jumps up and down and screams and yells till she gets that last chocolate bar, she wins. She gets that last chocolate bar. She teaches several other people to act like Karens. That one Karen that doesn't get away with it, doesn't get that chocolate bar, she packs a tantrum and she looks like an idiot. And at the end of the day, the greedy, self-obsessed cunt behind her that goes, well, what if I did the same thing, sees that she lost. She lost not only the chocolate bar, but her self-respect and dignity. That's what we need to see in society today. Is these bad people losing, but in a manner where they lose their self-respect and dignity. Because we need to hold on to ours, because that's starting to be stripped away from us and our youth. And it's disgusting. That is a violation on human rights up there with the worst possible kinds. Is people are giving up their self-respect and dignity. Yeah,